Those and of course today fracking has started at present,
on that,
which is being subsidised by the taxpayer, 75% capital allowances, and that's before you even consider that it's £18,000 a day, £18,000 a day subsidised by the taxpayer.
All right, well, let's find
that.
out what is happening today. Danny Savage is at the site, or certainly close to it. Danny, what is happening there?
Joe, this is the day that fracking was due to start again after a 7-year break. There was a couple of minor earthquakes in this part of Lancashire back in 2011. They were attributed to the fledgling fracking industry at the time. Work has effectively stopped since then, and for the last 7 years there have been legal challenges, there have been protests, but that last legal challenge to fracking starting again at this site on Preston New Road in Lancashire has actually started and finished again last week. So what we have here today is another protest outside the Quadrilla site. We understand that it has not yet started to frack again today. It was due to start today, but hasn't started yet. We understand there's some calibrating going on with the equipment behind the fences here, but they are due to start this process again, drilling down deep into the ground with high pressure water and chemicals, and then going horizontal. And this is a process which will last for 3 months to see if there's any natural gas down there, and if there is, how much. Is it worth being something that's commercially viable for Quadrilla in the future? They'll have to get more licences and more permissions if that's the case. But as things stand at the moment, Joe, very little activity. This is a main A road. It's completely closed because of the protests here at the moment. You can see this white van behind me on top of the scaffold there. There's a man effectively horizontally attached himself, a protester there. He's attached himself to a board, and now the police have put in a scaffold to the right of that van. There's already been one police officer up there to assess how to get that man down. He's not going to help them do it. They're going to have to get him released and move him on, and is effectively blocking those gates at the moment. Others are chained to concrete blocks nearby. The protesters are still making their point. They haven't given up, even though fracking does start again today.
Danny Savage, thank you very much. I'm just going to say to you two, I'm going to stick with the politicians just for a bit longer on this issue of fracking. Would you be... Yeah, lucky them. Well, lucky you. Would you be prepared to have fracking in your constituency? You would?
100%. We don't have any shale. So let me just... So what I'm always fascinated by is all the people who are chaining themselves up, and we have a long tradition of protest in this country, will go home, and the chances are they'll be turning on their gas hobs and their gas central heating, because 85% of us use gas. And the way we're going to crack this climate change conundrum is to start where we are and make the steps that we need to do to go further. So in every scenario put forward about a low carbon future, including the one put forward by the Labour Party, we need some form of non-renewable energy in the mix. Now, Jeremy Corbyn's party are opposed to nuclear. They're opposed to... Jeremy wants to reopen the coal mines. Well, he said he's opposed to nuclear in any form. And the thing that I find incredible is we have a choice. We import right now about half of our gas. We all use gas. Right. We're using less gas, but gas is actually much cleaner than coal and oil, and we can decarbonise it further. By 2030, on current projections, with consumption dropping, we'll be importing 70% of it. So we have a choice. We can produce some of our own safely, because we have the highest environmental standards in the world, or we can import it where Russia is the swing state. And
do you have to move on? Do you have to move on fracking?
The unions who fund Barry and many of his colleagues fundamentally support this because they see it brings jobs back to communities that have been neglected for too many years.
Barry?
We've made it very clear that we will ban fracking. When we come into government, if we are granted that responsibility, we will ban fracking in this country. And it was very interesting. Just after Claire left the IPCC Green GB this morning, it moved to questions. And the first question was about whether it can be sensible to be subsidising for Annex 1 countries, like the UK is, to be subsidising fossil fuels in the way that we currently are.
So would you stop subsidy to all offshore
excuse me a second.
As well?
Again, Claire, I'll afford you...
All right, go on, carry on.
And of course, it was very clear that we who have the greatest responsibility in this, and Claire's right to say that we have taken a lead. The 2008 Climate Change Act was absolutely pivotal in getting the world to really take on board the issue of climate change. But we should not be subsidising fossil fuels in this country. What we should be doing is we should be increasing probably by about 7-fold the offshore wind that we have.
On that,
and also going back on the government's effective ban on onshore wind. These are the renewables that are vital.
All right,
let me put
that back together, because promoting fracking, expanding Heathrow, freezing fuel duty, banning onshore wind power, as Barry has said, scrapping solar subsidies and cancelling zero-carbon homes, that is hardly green GB.
But hang on a sec. So let's go back to what's actually happening. Because, first of all...
But those are true, aren't they, all those things?
No, we haven't banned onshore wind by any means. We have a very large onshore wind base that continues to turn and generate. We've also decarbonised faster in our energy system than any other country in the developed world, with the exception of some of the southern American countries. We can keep talking ideology and pretending that we can have a 100% renewable energy system, or we can start with the facts, work out a way to have energy sovereignty, work out the way to have the lowest possible renewables. And it was our government, of course, that is delivering onshore wind now at subsidy-free levels. But ultimately, you cannot set ideology ahead of actually delivering energy policy.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. We're going to have to leave it here for the moment, because we're going to go back to Brexit.